acknowledging a few people who are unable to be with us tonight. Grandma Marie, Grandma Harriet, Grandpa Herman, and Grandpa Eddie. We love you, and you are missed. You would have really enjoyed this. The wedding, not necessarily my speech. In our family, I'm always the last one to know anything about everything. That is until Edward said he was going to propose to Julie. Now, I don't know for sure that I knew this before my mom, or dad, or Heather, or Craig, who first shared his proposal with Edward, or even Julie's dad, Jerry, and therefore mom, or not therefore. Since I assume Edward asked permission, which is the cultural norm and Edward's MO, at times, most times. So, I've been told. But when Edward told me, I assumed this was the first time I'd been told first, and at best times. Edward and I have probably what could best be described as not the kind of brotherly relationship you see depicted in Hollywood cinema. That is, it's not sacred, it's not developed through full disclosure, or dramatic untold lies. We're not necessarily best friends by the traditional sense of what defines best friends, i.e. full disclosure. Hearing about, say, specific sexual exploits, detailed or not, stuff good or best non-related friends may talk about it the same way one describes a setting of Matterhorn, crevasses and all, not stuff I nor Edward, I can safely assume, want to discuss with one another about each other who just don't do that. We never shared the enjoyment of the same kinds of video games at the same time in life. He stopped playing Madden before college, I started sometime after. We never even shared the enjoyment of sports. He shot around on the hoop in our driveway for hours while my game of concerted role-playing and/or adventure Nintendo console game here was musically overlaid with the muffled, distant sound of a bouncing ball. Basically, I didn't play sports before. You never, well, you get the picture. We were very different as kids, or at least interested in different things. We also disagreed about a lot of things. We fought over the remote for the TV, which I think involved me drumming on his back with my fists and getting in trouble for probably knowing better, or being older, or something like that after my mom ran across the house to diffuse the chaos. There was also the time we got into some sort of outdoors argument resulting in me running away from him and locking the door, and he chasing me and then smashing one glass pane in the 9-pane grid, the one above the knob, of course, after pounding on it and yelling for me to let him in there. There was the time we exchanged poorly thrown punches in the Camp Androscoggin parking lot, and the director found out and threatened to tell our mom. That last fight happened in 2005 when he was in law school. Also, because of the way he snacks his 8:30 a.m. bowl of Cheerios, I couldn't eat breakfast with him for somewhere in the middle of elementary school until after freshman year of high school when we went off to work. So now you're probably thinking, they're not movie-style best friend brothers who did everything together, or worse yet, they fought all the time and couldn't eat breakfast together even. Or most likely, is this blowhard ever going to stop speaking? Since I already addressed your first two thoughts in detail, I'll answer the last one by saying no. Because the story isn't over. After a mere 2 trips to visit him in Harvard, while I was in high school, and no visits to UCLA Law, while I was at Penn. Where are you? Oh, hello. I was at Penn. We both graduated, and Edward needed to schlep a bunch of stuff from LA to New York. So, after everything you heard me say before, you may be surprised to hear Hugh Salisbury Hill Hugh Salisbury Hill. Edward and I took a cross-country road trip. We shared acrophobia at the Hoover Dam. Realized the Grand Canyon has to be seen in person to be completely grasped. Decided Las Vegas was really tacky. We're reminded of the dangers of flying objects from space at the New Mexico meteor crater. Though they really do grow them bigger in Texas. Saw Graceland. Stood on an ancient seabed at Painted Desert National Park, were inspired by the Bill Clinton Presidential Library and drove through what we believed were the Smoky Mountains of Appalachia. A few months later, we took a 2.5-week trip to Japan. Neither of us speaks Japanese. Where we climbed Mount Fuji. I fell asleep on the sidewalk at the base of Mount Fuji, like a homeless man waiting for a bus. Edward had to use a Japanese-style toilet on a bullet train. And we both communicated using only gestures. We found out crossed arms means no, while walking across the Emperor's well-groomed lawn. And were approached by security guards. And sweated more than we've ever sweated in our lives while traveling around Tokyo in late August. Edward also insisted we have one American fast food burger a day. This was especially important after we ate pickles that tasted the way a foot smelled. So Edward and I turned out to be a pretty good pair of brothers after all. But what about Julie, you ask? Well, don't forget what I said at the beginning. One day, a few years ago, I learned that it turned out Edward had been dating a girl I'd never heard about for like a year, or maybe 6 months. I guess not everything changes. Of course, after meeting Julie, I thought she was awesome. She and Edward got along so well, and even she didn't seem to mind the less refined side of me, which is fortunate because I have difficulty hiding said side, even and especially in front of my family. Also, I forgot to mention, Edward and I never really competed against one another, except in a foot race to the front seat of the car. Which is good, because to find myself a girl to compete with the likes of Julie would be a lesson in futility. Together, they are just too good looking, too much fun, and, in case anyone forgot, they're both doctors and lawyers, too much of a power couple. I love you both, and I can't wait to come see you both in Pittsburgh. This time I promise I'll come. Thank you.